Hey everybody, good morning and welcome back to Blu-Roy Movies. This morning we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to show you 10 remakes that I like. Now usually I'm the first person to roll my eyes when a remake is announced. I think, why are they doing that? There's no need for it. And I generally, through probably my own character fault, avoid them and don't watch them and don't give a chance. But on the other hand, there are quite a few remakes that I actually do like. And today I've selected 10 that I'm going to talk about. Now, these remakes, I'm not going to say they're better than the original films, but they're ones that I enjoy, ones that I can take something out of, and I can watch again and again. And every time I enjoy them a little bit more, in most cases. So let's crack on with it. I've even done a bit of research for this video. Get me. It won't last, guys. I promise you. So first up, I'm going to go with the 2018 reiteration of A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga and starring and directed by Bradley Cooper. Now, this is the 4th edition of A Star Is Born, kicking off in 1937 with Janet Gaynor, 1954 with Judy Garland, and 76 with Barbra Streisand. I've watched them all. I do like them all. But this is my favourite one of the 4. I thought the chemistry between Gaga and Cooper was just off the charts. Just incredible. The music in it, fantastic. Absolutely love this film. I've watched it 2 or 3 times. I've watched it with the wife. She likes it as well. Yeah, one I really enjoy and one I'll go back time and time again. I don't know what I like ranking them. I'd say this, Garland, Streisand, Gaynor. But I enjoy them all good in their own rights. Next up, I've got from 1964, directed by Sergio Leone, A Fistful of Dollars. Now, this is a remake of a 1961 film called Yojimbo, directed by the legendary Akira Kurosawa. Both the tales, in this one, it's a cowboy. In Kurosawa's version, it's a Ronin type samurai. They go to a small town that run by 2 different families, and they play one family against each other for their own needs. Kurosawa's brilliant. It stars Toshiro Mifune, who in his own way is just as good as Eastwood as he does. He was a regular with Kurosawa during his career. But again, for me, this one just pips it. It put Eastwood on the map, introduced us to his cool man with no name character. Although they say that, I think he does have a name in this, doesn't he? Which I can't remember, but I think he is called by a first name. So they call it the Man with No Name trilogy. I think that's maybe a little bit false. But yeah, I just like this one just that little bit more. But both brilliant, brilliant films. Next up, I'm going to go with 1982, the John Carpenter directed, Kurt Russell starring, The Thing. Absolute wonderful film of aliens and paranoia. It's a remake of a 1951 film called The Thing from Another World, starring Kenneth Tobey. And while I have watched the 51 film and enjoy it, it's very of its time, very hokey. You have to be in the right mood to watch it, but this you can stick on any time because this is absolutely wonderful film, as sure most of you guys know. The feeling of dread and paranoia, the practical effects are just fantastic in it. Again, another film I could watch time and time again and enjoy. Absolutely wonderful. One I'd like to upgrade at some point to the 4K. Next up for me, and this might be a little bit controversial, I'm going with the 1983 retelling of the film Breathless. Now, this was originally a 1960 French New Wave film directed by Jean-Luc Godard, and I watched it and it bored the pants off me. But it is revered as brilliant film and a film that set a new genre of films in motion in France. But this, as a technical point, I know it's not as good a film, but I really love this. It's got Richard Gere and Valerie Kaprisky, and they start. Gere's a criminal. It starts off with him stealing a car and snowballs from there, and he goes on the run with Valerie, and it's a really, really good lovers on the run film, which is a side genre that I really enjoy, along with lots of Gun Crazy. Gere in this is always reading the film. He's always reading the comic The Silver Surfer, which is a comic I used to read when I was a kid. When this came out, I'd been about 14. I'd be reading that comic, so that was something that just gelled with me instantly. Really good film. It's not. Oh, well, I say it's a really good film. It's not got good ratings, but it's one that I really enjoy. That's Richard Gere in Breathless. Now, next up, I was going to hold up The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, the 2009 Tony Scott film with John Travolta and Denzel. But I went to the shelves and I haven't got it, apparently. I can't believe it. I was searching high and low, but it's just not there, so I'm going to have to get myself a copy. So I'm going to hold up now the Jimmy Hoffa stroke Lord Lucan special edition. I was going to make a far more edgier joke than that, but I bottled it. It's a remake of a 1974 film starring Walter Matthau, Robert Shaw and Martin Balsam. I do like the 74 one, but for some reason my invisible version just resonates much more with me. The story of terrorists hijacking a train and holding the passengers to ransom. Absolutely wonderful film, and one that I won't be watching very quickly because I haven't got a bloody copy. Fancy that, eh? Right, next on, moving along from that little faux pas, I have the 1991 edition of Cape Fear starring Robert De Niro and Nick Nolte. Now, this is a remake of a 1962 film starring Gregory Peck and Robert Mitchum. And you know what? I do actually like the Mitchum film more, but this is a fantastic retelling. De Niro in this, creepy as hell as Max Cady. It's all about De Niro's character. He spends a long term in prison and he comes back and terrorises the family of the lawyer who's supposed to be defending him, but didn't manage to keep him out of prison. Absolutely edge of the seat stuff, really gets under your skin. Like I say, De Niro, absolutely wonderful in this. What an actor the guy is. That's Cape Fear 91. Next up, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. Directed by Philip Kaufman and starring Donald Sutherland, the late great. It was a remake of a 1956 film directed by Don Siegel and starring Kevin McCarthy. Do enjoy the 56 film, but again, very of its time. So is this in a way. It's very 70s, but 70s is a decade I really enjoy in film. The tale of aliens replacing people, and their bodies still remain, but it's the aliens that are taking over the bodies. Again, paranoia, wonderful stuff, and that ending with Donald Sutherland, brilliant. Absolutely great remake. Next up, from 1956, and a film that's in this box set of Alfred Hitchcock for me, The Man Who Knew Too Much, starring Jimmy Stewart and Doris Day. Now, this is a remake of a film that Hitchcock had already made in 1934, starring Leslie Banks. Jimmy Stewart is on holiday in Morocco and he witnesses a murder, and it spirals into international intrigue and spies and people threatening Jimmy and kidnapping his son. Absolutely wonderful Hitchcock. Top tier Hitchcock. Probably in maybe my top 5. The 1934 film is also good, but it's when Hitchcock was still finding his feet, and as I say, good, but that one, absolutely wonderful. Next I'm going, and from 2012, we're going for Dread, starring Carl Urban and Lena Headey. A remake of a 1995 very hokey Sylvester Stallone film. This one is far, far better. A film that come out with very limited expectations, but was absolutely wonderful. If you've seen the film The Raid, it's a very similar idea, where Judge Dredd has to go in and clear a tower block of bad guys, and he does it floor by floor by floor. What made it for me was Lena Headey as the bad woman in it. She's a wonderful actress. For me, she was the best part of Game of Thrones. Yeah, great stuff. I know the Stallone films taken a bit of a resurgence recently. People seem to have been getting into that one a little bit more, and it's gone up in opinions recently. Not one I'd rush to rewatch, but Dread, another film I could stick on over and over again and just let it unfold. Switch off your brain and just watch the carnage. And last up from myself, and a film I didn't even know was a remake until I was researching this video. Maybe I should research my videos a little bit more. And that is 2004's and the second Tony Scott film on this list, Man on Fire, starring Denzel Washington and Christopher Walken. Now, this film was originally made in 1987, starring Scott Glenn. And again, I haven't watched it because, like I say, I didn't even know it existed. But I am curious now to check it out, because this is an absolutely wonderful film of Denzel taking revenge against a family that was wronged, that he was supposed to be protecting, and he didn't manage to do it. And it's him taking revenge. Again, absolutely wonderful film. Tony Scott, he was such a great director. I think he's nearly as good as his brother. Just a shame what happened to him. Took his life far too young, guys. Talk. If you've got problems, talk to people. So that's it. That's 10 films. 10 remakes that I like. What about you guys? What remakes do you like? Maybe make a video showing. I think actually Ash done this one a few weeks ago. I'm pretty sure I haven't invented that. So thanks, Ash, for the inspiration. And that's it. The cat's been sat behind me all the time, so he deserves a treat. Come on, buddy. Never work with kids or animals, they say. Ta-ra.